Hey guys, Shane Stars with Droid Modder X. We're going to be looking at the HTC One M8 screen side by side with the LG G3 screen. The screen on the left is the LG G3 screen. It is a Quad HD display, while the screen on the right is the HTC One M8 1080p display. The 1080p display on the M8 has 441 pixels per inch, while the screen on the left has 538 pixels per inch. On the left, the LG G3 has a 5.5 inch display, while the M8 has a 5-inch display. Now, as far as screen real estate, the LG G3 screen seems to take up more of the front of the face of the phone, while the M8 screen has this huge bezel, which is mostly encompassed by a camera and a couple of huge speakers. So while the screen on the G3 is much bigger, the phone itself is not very much taller. You guys can see side by side, they're basically the same height. The resolution on the LG G3 screen is 1440 by 2560. So that is what they're saying is it's quadruple HD resolution, or twice as clear as 1080p. While the HTC One M8 is 1080 by 1920 or 1080p. So full HD on the One M8 and twice full HD on the LG G3. Now, as you can see, both phones are set to full brightness. The one on the left, the LG G3, seems to be just a little bit dimmer than the screen on the right, the One M8. You'll also notice that the colors look a bit more accurate on the LG G3 when at full brightness, while the colors on the HTC One M8 seem a little bit oversaturated. They seem to be just a little more toned down on the LG G3. Now, one thing I will say, when I'm outdoors, I can see this screen perfectly fine on the LG G3 in about 35%. When we talk about indoor performance, either one of these phones will work fine at a lower brightness setting. I normally keep the One M8 at the single brightness setting, so if I come here, I'll just turn that down to the 1 brightness setting. While on the G3, I'll normally keep it at about 35%. Now, I've personally found that indoors, I can see the M8 a little better than the LG G3 at that low brightness setting, but when we go outdoors, I have to turn up the brightness on the M8 while I don't have to turn up the brightness at all on the LG G3. So I'm fully capable of seeing the screen on the LG G3 in sunlight, while the M8, it is a little more difficult to see the screen in sunlight. Normally, if I'm going to be outside, I'll set that to auto brightness, or I'll just go ahead and bump it to the full brightness. Where this comes in handy on the G3 is battery saving. So even though we have a bigger screen and it is Quad HD, I save a lot of battery with this screen because I can turn down the brightness. I never have to have my brightness more than 35% on the G3, whereas on the M8, I'm constantly having to turn the brightness on full blast, especially, like I said, when I'm outside. I do a lot of work outside with my job. I'm mostly outside, so on the M8 I find myself running out of battery a little quicker just simply because the brightness has to be kicked up to full brightness when I'm outdoors. As far as clarity on each of these devices, when you look at these two screens side by side, in my opinion, you really can tell the difference between the Quad HD screen and the 1080p. Now, when you're not side by side, you're probably not going to notice a difference. So if I pick up the LG G3, look at it, set it down, pick up the One M8, look at it, set it down, I'm probably not going to see a difference. But when you look at them side by side, just everything looks a whole lot clearer on the LG G3. So all of your lines look a whole lot clearer. Text looks a whole lot clearer on the G3. The only downfall to this Quad HD display is the fact that app developers have not quite caught up with that type of resolution. Most applications are developed to do well with 1080p screens. So pretty quickly, as more and more flagship devices come out with this Quad HD display, we'll see app developers go ahead and boost up their applications to support Quad HD. So being that this is the first Quad HD display, that is to be expected, and if you're an early adopter like I am on this device, then as developers update their apps, then you will reap the benefits of that. So real quickly, we're going to take a closer look at each screen. Okay, so I went ahead and toned down the brightness on each display. We're about half brightness on each display. And you can kind of see the difference here between the two displays. Maybe you can see them. I'm not sure. Being that I'm recording this with a 1080p camera, you probably won't be able to see the difference between the two applications. The app icons on the left seem to be just a little bit sharper than the ones on the right. And especially the wallpaper seems to be quite a bit sharper on the LG G3. Of course, like I said, this probably won't translate well on the 1080p Canon camera. maybe you can see the difference and maybe you cannot. In my opinion, the clear winner here with the display is the LG G3 with a Quad HD display. I truly believe that these are not just numbers, but this is actually a much better display than anything else on the market. And if you go and pick up the phone for yourself, you really can't tell the difference between the Quad HD display and the 1080p display. Guys, that about wraps it up for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, be sure to click the like button. Subscribe to me for more content like this in the future. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at DroidModderX. Thanks guys for watching. Be blessed. I'll see you in the next one.